I thought it would be fun to start off the show with a question. So, anybody who has believed in Teddy from day one, raise your hand. Not so fast, everyone else. That was it. That was terrible. But
when you can't see me raise my hand anyway.
That's okay, because you know what, Patrick? We're gonna grade you on the same curve that Saints Twitter wants to grade Teddy on. So you know what? For a backup co-host, that was a great intro.
Backup coach, man, that hurt.
So annoying. Can we just not talk about Teddy Bridgewater? Can we just not talk about Teddy Bridgewater and talk about something else? That would be great.
No,
that'd be so great.
We'll talk about him later, but we're actually going to focus on the positives this week. I'll just say this. I'm not a Bridgewater hater. I want to be really clear on this. I didn't like Tommy Lee Lewis because he didn't belong in the NFL, and I had fun with those jokes. My only question with Teddy is, can he be an impact player? Can he be a plus? We know he's a neutral, and do not ever discount how valuable having a quarterback who is a consistent neutral is. Look how many times Andy Dalton's made the playoffs. Andy Dalton, for the most part, is a consistent neutral, and you can build a competitive team around him. You're not going to win a ring. Although, honestly, the difference between Andy Dalton and Eli Manning ain't very big, and Eli's got 2 rings. Teddy is for sure that guy. My question is, can he, with Sean, be a plus? He can be a Hall of Famer, but can he be a plus player enough where you don't have to have a loaded roster of weapons for him to be competent against good defenses? That's the only question I have. He was great against the Bucs. And he's got better each week. He was ass against Seattle. He was okay against Dallas. He was really good against Tampa Bay. If he comes into Jacksonville and has another really good game, that's a positive trajectory.
That's
I just want to be really clear on that. I don't have an issue with Teddy, but if the question, which it is could we have him after this year? I have to see positive, not just neutral.
But I don't think anybody's grading. I don't think anybody's grading Teddy yesterday or what we saw as going forward. I mean, we're talking about just as of right now and getting through this stretch. I mean, nobody's watching.
There was a bunch of people up on my timeline yesterday crowing, "Oh, take it now, haters! Suck it, Teddy 3-0, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns." Yeah, it's the 32nd ranked pass defense, dude. Chill the fuck out.
Well, yeah, but that's still not. But that's still not saying he's the quarterback of the future. That's saying that he's not goddamn Luke Falk. He's not trash. I mean that's basically what it's saying.
He's like Eric Grayson.
Everybody was saying. Yeah, I mean, for everybody that's saying he can't, he couldn't throw a pass, more than. And, I mean, and listen, I get that.
I never saw anybody say he couldn't. I saw people say he wouldn't.
Brian, you talked already. Okay, all right.
That's fair.
Listen.
Thank you for
that. The point is this. I think that we can't it can't be both ways. Okay, regardless if he's playing a bad defense or not, regardless if this was more about game planning than the prior 2 weeks were. He's 3-0, okay? And I mean, hell, if the Saints had Drew Brees and they went 3-0 in this stretch, we'd be happy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and in all honesty, I may have been surprised. I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like if the game goes the same way, of course, Drew wins the game in Seattle. But looking at the schedule in August, I may have considered that as a game that they could lose. You know what I'm saying? So for them to be 3-0 regardless, and Teddy to have the best game of his career, make no mistake about it, the best game of his career. Like, I'm rooting for the guy, and it's not saying that he's the next answer at quarterback, because I'm not there to where I think that he is. Now, if he comes out these next 2 games and he balls out, Maybe so. But for right now, I'm just enjoying the moment, man. And he did make some good throws. He did make a few good throws in tight spaces that everybody can't make. I'm not gonna shit on Teddy because he's playing the Buccaneers. Yeah, I'm not gonna shit on him because he's playing against a bad defense. That's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah, I
Cam
want
Newton
to say.
could do it.
So I was at that game.
Not now.
And some of them throws, I'm thinking the two long ones to Thomas, and I know there are some wide open throws that he made, but these two, when he threw it at the exact time he was supposed to, which showed me his anticipation's getting better. Because I kind of agree. I didn't say Teddy couldn't throw down the field. I said he won't, but he took them today, and I actually think that he's gotten better at his pocket awareness. Didn't get him.
He stepped up this time.
Yeah, he stepped up, and then he had some pressure quick, and he did it the best he can. He was able to get her a short completion or just throw it away. He wasn't taking the sack. So those are the really two positive things. But I just want to say this, and I think we can move on because I don't want to ramble on too much about him. But Teddy, when they started chanting Teddy, it didn't hit me till after the game how cool that actually was. It was super cool, not just because it was really a reflection of the team, because that team is just I would put it over the 2009 Super Bowl year as far as just how much they all love each other. And I think that the crowd chanting like that was just a reflection of the team. How cool is that for him, even though he might not outwardly show it, for him going forward, he'll always remember, that game.
Yeah. Here's the and I really do mean this. This is the last thing I'll say on Teddy. Other than look, and I'll be fully honest on this. Part of why I'm hard on him and other people is we went into last year with Super Bowl expectations and got screwed out of a trip. I have Super Bowl expectations for this team, and they have a chance to be better than last year, especially on defense. If let's say Teddy only loses one game through the stretch, let's just say we only lose to the Bears, which is very plausible for this stretch. And Drew comes back, and you've only got 2 losses, and Drew gets around into shape, and you get a 1 or a 2 seed again, and this time you make it to the Super Bowl and you win it. The story is obviously Drew going out the right way, but a huge part of that story is the redemption for Teddy Bridgewater, who had an unbelievable injury, showed a level of guts that just frankly the vast majority of people can't even comprehend how much it took behind the scenes for this man to get back where he is. And the mental strength to not have the yips every time he takes a drop back from what happened to his leg. To win a Super Bowl at the end of that season, I want it for us as fans. I obviously want it for Drew. I want it for Sean. I legitimately want this for Teddy Bridgewater. Because if there's one guy that deserves it, after what he's been through, to be because most backup quarterbacks, your contribution towards winning is you hold the ball for the kicker. That's about it. To be able to say, this team doesn't make the Super Bowl without me, I kept them afloat. I got them there for Drew to come back would be the coolest thing ever. So I want to end any Teddy talk on that. They went 3-0 with him, and it's not his fault entirely that he didn't play up to the level we expect from Drew or even just a regular starter those first 2 games. And I did tweet this before, and I will say this again. I do think that Teddy can say he was ready as much as he wanted. And he could have felt he was ready. He could have thought he was ready. The first real live rounds he had as a starter were against Seattle. I'm not counting the Rams where he just came in mid-game and the whole team just was deflated because Drew got hurt. And we're obviously not going to hold Carolina against him last year. Sean tried to kill him, putting him behind all those backups on the offensive line. The last real football memory you had the back of your head is your knee exploding. Like, that's still there. If it took him a couple of games to really round into shape and get confident, proving that he knew he could do it so he could trust himself to make those throws that he wasn't making, that's entirely reasonable. And that's why we evolve opinions over time. Speaking of that, and I didn't do this on purpose, but it's going to be a pretty damn good segue. Speaking of opinions evolving over time, I remember seeing a lot of people on the timeline all the way through preseason. Trey Hendrickson, 2 firsts is trash, bust, bad pick, a whole lot of Twitter GMs. Now, no one on this podcast has said any of that dumb shit. Can we just give Marcus Davenport some? This guy, including week 1, but especially the last 3 weeks, has been an absolute fucking nightmare for offensive coordinators. He leads the team in pressures, and I think he leads the team in sacks.
Yeah, I think so too. One of the things I saw today is like Baldy's breakdown of him, and he was showing the stab that he developed that he didn't have in his first 2 years. And someone in the comments, I don't know if they're,
This is his second.
Right, but someone commented, it's like, well, what's the stab for? Well, he's got those long arms. If you can stab someone, they can't get their hands on your body, because usually most offensive linemen, they get their hands on your body, it's done, right? Like, unless the play just goes on a lot longer than he thought. So you do the stab, you can control where he's going, and as soon as you're ready, if you got him off like balance, you can just shed him. You can just push him to the ground at that point. And it was even more impressive because when he took that rep, he was in the stand-up position, and at the snap, he really didn't get low at all. And it was crazy how he's able to use that stab, not even getting low, and still push that man back. Basically, he didn't even have to shed him, I don't think, because he just basically pushed him back into Winston, I think, or he fell over. I don't know. But it was...
You talking about the first sack?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he literally discarded him, and then he hit him with a straight-up Goldberg spear and just erased Winston. We've talked about it on the podcast before. I think Chris brought it up last year. When Davenport hits people, like, the play's just over. It's done.
He's so goddamn mean, dude. You know, what's crazy about him, man, is that when you listen to him, he's so humble, and, you know, his voice is not, you know, the Pelicans, the Saints have 2 players on their team, their voices just does not match their body. It's Michael Thomas and it's Marcus Davenport. Like, this guy is this athletic, large freak of nature, and he's so damn like he's so nice. He looks friendly. He's always smiling. But dude, when he's on that field, like, you see him, he has so much nasty in him from the minute, and it doesn't matter who he's against. I mean, we saw it last year against some of the best, one of the best tackles in Trent Edwards over in Washington. I mean, like, Trent Williams.
Yeah, it's fine.
And, you know, unfortunately, you know, DeMar Dotson is out there hobbled, but, you know, I mean, he's still a really good tackle when he's upright.
When he was whooping Tyron Smith last week.
Yeah.
I mean, he got him into a damn ankle sprain. I mean, it's just in pure force too, man. I mean, like this kid is gonna be Dwight Freeney-like if he can develop a counter move to that stab.
He doesn't even need the spin. Like, if he gets that stab and he can add a rip, that's all he needs.
Yeah.
Just add a swim to it. If they beat you on the stab and you just swim, because he's got the lateral agility to do it. Oh, he is going to. You want to, let's have a little fun with a bold prediction. He is going to knock a quarterback out of a game this year, and I don't mean like in a dirty hit way. I just mean he is going to blow up a lineman, or maybe even blow by somebody at some point and hit somebody with some evil Evil intentions.
Oh, I mean, he hits people. He hits people hard, man. I mean, and it's just everything is so violent. The minute he
Alex
gets
Smith
off the
last
mat,
year.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, decapitated him. Oh yeah, that was bad.
Did you see the? I think my favorite thing. So did you guys see like Jameis had 2 plays where he gave his offensive lineman absolute stank eye yesterday. One was on the Cam Jordan sack where he actually pushed Cam's head back into the turf because he was so pissed about it. But when Davenport speared him, Jameis turned back and looked at the lineman like, really? It was that easy? Because he's had great protection his first 3 weeks.
I mean, for you to show that level of Roman strength.
Oh yeah,
it's fun to watch, man.
It was funny. They did it later in the game too because they were trying to throw that quick slant to Mike Evans in the end zone, which they scored like a play or two later. But still, in that play, Cam Jordan ripped through the line so fast that Winston was trying to get it away, and then Demario Davis jumps up and it almost winds up being an interception or a sack, and that like both Mike Evans and Winston were so heated because that was there. Because
I don't think I saw this power, man. I mean, I think that's what's most interesting. I mean, I think looking at his measurables and his combine numbers and some of his highlights in college, I anticipated a hell of a speed rusher that could develop power. I didn't see this type of power off of the line
because
right away.
He ran, I think, a couple of times against Seattle. I think he ran like Wilson out of bounds as a defensive end.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, shit. He caught Saquon in the backfield last year. He had no business.
Yeah.
No defensive lineman has any business doing anything to Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry. Like, he changes the rules. He moves the goalposts, and I'll be the first one to say, man. I mean, box scores are definitely deceiving. When you watch this dude, I mean, he creates havoc. And on both sides of the field, I mean, and that's what this depth is. So, and we need to talk about this depth that they have at defensive line, because now you don't know where the hell these guys are lining up at. I mean, Davenport will be on the left side, he'll be on the right side, he'll be a defensive tackle. I mean, he'll stand up in a linebacker stand. I mean, they are really. We really got to give Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis some love. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, because when you're talking about this, I noticed like he's been doing that a lot this year. He's done it in the past, but like sometimes it can seem kind of gimmicky. Like if you're moving around, but that yet when the snap comes, you don't really do anything. But this shit's working, and like it's not even the defensive line; the secondary is moving around the whole time and communicating with each other. Like I think Deuce had a video of it, how they'll start out in the too high look, they'll start calling checks, and then like one of the safeties will go over the top and one will go to the middle of the field, and they'll switch again, and by that time the quarterback has no time to make any more checks because he's got to hike it, and it's been causing a lot of confusion. So
before we talk about, because we've been hard on him on this show, so we should give Dennis Allen a little bit of love. We definitely got to talk about Lattimore because his last 2 weeks have been special. But the last thing I want to say on Davenport, this would be a little bit of a hot take.
Uh-oh.
I think Davenport.
Oh, don't be that guy.
No, not in a bad way. I think Davenport is going to end up becoming the player fans thought Jadeveon Clowney was going to be. And I don't mean from a quality standpoint, but I mean stylistically. People thought Clowney was going to be a downhill force player, just wrecking shop, blowing shit up. I'm too big, too strong, too fast. You don't have a choice. And he's really turned into a matchup linebacker. I think Davenport, but people thought Clowney was going to be a Hall of Famer. If Davenport can get his skill level, and he's starting to figure out anticipating the snap with his toolkit, this could be a 12 to 15 sack a year guy who's getting 25, 30 tackle for loss every fucking year for the next decade. Obviously, and that's the hot take part because we have a small sample size. But
I get what you're saying. I mean,
like,
looking at him, I mean, what else?
I see Clowney. I see what people were talking like what Clowney was going to be out of this guy, and go, you can't block him.
Yeah, it's like
they're going to have to start singling up Cam Jordan, and that's a problem.
Well, I said in the past, like Kamara is what we thought Bush was going to be.
Yeah.
So, and
I mean,
that's
not as fast,
Reggie,
but yeah.
Yeah, not as fast top speed, but pretty much everything else.
We're talking numbers and production. No, right? Because they would.
Yeah. Production and skill. Like Reggie Bush, he didn't develop really his running skills until like the latter half of his career. He just danced too much. He didn't use his quickness to his advantage, but he finally figured it out.
60-yard runs. I mean, that's
Mark Ingram.
That's what he had in college.
Mark Ingram had that problem in the beginning of his career. I don't know if it's like a first round guy thing, but like you're trying so hard to make things happen instead of just taking what's there.
I think Mark found some a distillery, but that's not here nor there. And he would be far from the first. But yeah, no, I mean I think Davenport he has been special through these first 5 games. There's absolutely no question. But
something else I wanted to bring up about the defense, because the linebacker play has been good, and that Kiko player is actually kind of a sneaky good signing. I mean,
that was a good trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's because he's doing, I think, playing as good as AJ Klein may have played last year at the small sample size, but it's not Craig Robertson on the field.
Yeah,
I mean, but this all starts with the defensive line. In all honesty.
Oh yes. Definitely.
When you have 7 to 8 guys that are all capable of playing meaningful snaps, and
5 first-round picks in the front 4.
Right, 3 or 4 of them, or 3 or 4 of them are elite at what they do, or are going to be elite at what they do. I mean, hell, I think, Patrick, you might be able to play linebacker for a few snaps out there.
Dude, I think actually we have legit 4 across the line, because I think Onyemata, and when Rankins gets back into shape,
Rankins is already in shape.
Right.
He played a lot yesterday. He played a lot. He definitely played a lot.
He played the most defensive line snaps the week before. That dude's a freak.
Wow.
He came back.
Well, that's crazy.
He came back full throttle.
Yeah, but
and hasn't missed a beat.
Onyemata too, man. I love what he's been doing this year.
They're gonna have some decisions to make. I tell you that.
He's nasty. Like because you look at him, he doesn't look like a defensive tackle, because he doesn't carry that belly fat that usually defensive tackles do. He just kind of looks fit. I mean, he's not Aaron Donald, but yeah.
He is just big, mean, 100% Canadian African.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
I don't either, but it sounded good, so I decided to go with it. But
Canadian African. That's pretty good. I don't know what it means, but I don't know what it means.
But hey, the other one in the league that is Akeem Hicks. That's the other Canadian African.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh no, Cameron Wake.
I mean, all that Canadian bacon must be doing something good for him, because these boys can hit. But the jokes aside, and I think obviously we all agree, like Davenport, there's still so much more room for him to grow and more production for him to have throughout the year, but he's already showing the things that you want to see from a second-year player. You're seeing growth in technique, you're seeing growth in understanding, you're seeing growth in reaction, and you're still seeing all the freaky things that you saw year 1 that made you go, ooh, he could be X. So he's projecting in the right direction, but There's another guy, and I think, and I'm a bit of an apologist for this, for one of these guys, but I do now, with the benefit of hindsight, I think that Marcus Williams got blamed for a lot of plays in the first couple of weeks that went for big plays. And because there's a tendency in Saints Twitter and Saints fans to blame Marcus for anything that happens on the back half because of Minnesota, which is not fair, but it's kind of fair, if that makes sense. It's not fair, but it's understandable. Like, I get where it's coming from. Because we were all operating under the assumption, well, that's not on Marshon. Marshon's a great corner. Well, Marshon was getting kind of a little bit of the Marcus Peters treatment at times in some of those games and getting a little toasty.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshon admitted that he was losing focus and that it was his fault. Now, whether it was or not, because he's been one to call out Marcus, veiled shots before of, hey, you should have been there. He called himself out. And the biggest thing to me is I look at Amari Cooper week before Marshon, the week of Marshon, and the week after Marshon. And it's the same guy in weeks before and after. Super productive player, explosive playmaker, legit number one receiver. And then I see him against Marshon, and I go, where he at? Where'd he go? Is he here? Did he play? Are you sure? Then you go look at Mike Evans. They dropped 55 the week before. He cooked Marshon week 1 last year in the dome.
Yep.
He blanked him. Mike Evans, I know Saints fan, he's in the division. There's this and that. There's a whole thing with, we like Mike Thomas and we can't like Mike Evans. There's all that stuff. Mike Evans is an elite receiver in this league. Marshon blanked him. Triple
That
O.
was impressive.
He gave him the 300 treatment, 3 targets and nothing but zeros.
Yeah, that was definitely impressive. I mean, and listen, in Bruce Arians' offense, when you look at what Tampa Bay has been doing, their main focus has been the middle of the field, for the most part, which is one reason, outside of Chris Godwin, just being healthy and having a great season and truthfully coming into his own as a top caliber receiver. Him playing a slot is really been Jameis's calling card for the most part of the year. A good part of their splash plays outside of that Giants game it's come from the slot and it's come from Chris Godwin. But regardless, Mike Evans hadn't had a game where he had caught a single pass. I mean, what you mentioned about Marshon saying that he's lacked focus in the pass, from play to play. You can see the past 2 weeks he's taken them very, very seriously. And if you didn't know how good Amari Cooper was, watch what Amari did on a bad foot to Jair Alexander yesterday against the Packers. And with soft coverage or not, Amari racked up over 200 yards. The week prior, Marshon held him to 42.
Yeah.
He's somebody, I forgot who it was.
On Marshon.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
And I said not all of those 42 were on Marshon. I think at least one of those was on a linebacker. I think it was on Klein.
Yeah.
I think it was like 18 yards or something like that. But yeah, no, it's impressive as shit. And the other half of it, because I hate when people say who the defense's most important player, the best player is, or stuff like that, because I think it takes it out of context. Like Cam Jordan is still the best player on the defense. Demario Davis has an argument. Him and Sheldon Rankins are probably fighting for 2. But Marshon really is the most important player. And he's the most important player because you know what you're going to get from Demario. And you know what you're going to get from Cam. And you know what you're going to get from Sheldon Rankins. When you get good Marshon, it changes that whole secondary because now PJ gets to play downhill. And he is a great force player in that first 15. You just don't want PJ covering people further down the field. It gets Von Bell playing in the box. and solid coverage, but not having to play in space, which is where he struggles. And most importantly, when Marshon is locked in, you see a different Marcus Williams. And now I won't even get into how much it was the right call, but I hate the rule where Jameis threw a pick and the Bucs had to delay a game. And like my personal, and even if it bit us in the ass, I'd still be fine with it. I think that if you have a self-inflicted penalty that benefits the opposing team and they don't blow the play dead, and you do something that benefits them more, they should be able to decline the penalty.
Me too.
But that pick was beautiful that Marcus Williams had. He had the one to end the Dallas game. And probably would have had the one on the play before that, but I think Von Bell knocked it out of his hands. It's like, hey, the guy with no career interception was like, PJ, you just saw Marcus looking at him like, come on, bro. And then PJ was giving him the come on, bro, look, because he totally stole that interception from PJ. All of a sudden, Marcus is looking like an impact player who's getting picks, who's erasing things in coverage, who's making quarterbacks afraid to take those deep shots. He's looking like rookie Marcus at the exact same time that Marshon looks like rookie Marshon. I don't think that's a coincidence. Because if I'm going to be an instinctual ball-hawking safety, if I don't trust that you're locked in on your man, there's that little voice in the back of my head going, but he ain't focused. And I can't trust my reads. I'm not saying that's all of Marcus's problems. Like he's far from he's not Earl Thomas. Like he's not a player that never makes mistakes. But it's Marshon, if he can play just 70% of what we've seen the last 2 weeks. I expect him to blank everybody out. But if he can give you that for the rest of the year, this team will win a Super Bowl.
Dude, Eli too. Like I can't really look at anybody.
Great. Eli caught a ball.
I know, dude.
He's got to like hit AJ Klein for that.
Yeah, dude. It's really hard to like poke holes in the secondary. I mean, I know like each of them have their own little wonky things, but like, what you think the worst we got is PJ in the secondary, like who plays significant snaps.
PJ's
ain't bad.
The worst player there, and he's a solid like cover corner. Oh, he's an okay slot corner, but he's a great tackler.
Oh yeah, it's like having an extra safety with some slot cover skills.
What you would have wanted Kenny Vaccaro to be in that role.